Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is M.Hamzah with the student number 012. So in this opportunity, I want to explain to you about my analysis on the film named Memories of My Body, or in Indonesia we can call it as Kucumbu Tubuh Indahku. So let's not talking any time. So let's move to my explanation. So first, I want to tell you about the background of the film and the synopsis. So, Memories of My Body, or in Indonesia we call it as Kucumbu Tubuh Indahku, is a 2018 Indonesian Japanese language coming of age drama film directed by Garin Nugroho and produced by Iva Isfansha. The film tells the story of a dancer in the Lengger tradition, revolving around his introduction to it, and finding his self identity. The plot is loosely based on dancer Rianto's life, and also Rianto stars in the film. The ensemble cast is Muhammad Khan, Sujiwo Tejo, Tuku Rifnu Wikana, Randy Pangalila, and Endah Laras. Okay, so there is for the background. So next, let me explain about the synopsis of the film. So for the synopsis of the film, in the 1980s, young Juno's father leaves him inexplicably. Out of admiration, he begins learning Langer from a dance teacher, also beginning his sexual exploration at this point. He witnesses the teacher implementing vigilantism upon student, Jock for having sex with his wife. Upon his father's request, Juno's aunt Atmo takes him. She learns that he can detect chicken's fertility by inserting his finger into the genitals, much to her vexation. He is punished by a teacher for spreading an odor and is asked to write an apology with a chalk in his mouth, to which he writes "Mom." A dance teacher rescues and teaches him Langer. Noticing that Juno wants to touch her cleavage, missing his mother, she allows him, and the villagers take her to the police. Citing pedophilia, overwhelmed, Atmo gives Juno to his uncle. As a young adult, Juno works for his clothing store, able to measure a person's body with his senses. One day, a boxer orders a traditional wedding costume. He requests Juno that Juno demonstrate how to wear it. When the man accidentally bleeds his chest with a safety pin, he succeeds, and Juno realizes he is gay. As the eldest of plethora of siblings, the man never gets to spend time with himself or cuddle with his mother. Exacerbated by poverty and a fit of closeness, they kiss. The man loses a boxing match, thus not being able to garner money for his wedding, and the boss of a controlling enemy, whose fixer separates him and Juno. The next day, Juno's uncle reveals that his father left due to trauma upon a river nearby his house, where his family was slaughtered out of accusation that he was involved in the Indonesian mass killings of 1965 to 1966. Juno's uncle then dies, and Juno moves to his Jati village to be costume designer of a Langer group. So that is a background and synopsis of the film. So now let's identify the premise of the film, or it can be called surface structure. So from reading the surface structure above, it can be identified that premise of this film is the boy who wants to find his true identity, because he is a male, but he must wear a feminine dress because he is a dancer. Or on the other hand, the premise of this film is talking about a gay teenager embracing his sexuality through a combination of dance, and cross-dressing was always going to be controversial in the typically heavily conservative and homophobic authority in Indonesia, or the fact that the movie includes a kiss between two men itself quite the radical image, even if the moment is obscured by a plastic cover and heavy rainfall. But the response from Indonesian has been particularly polarizing. So next, I want to analyze the actential theme of these films. So the sender of this film is Juno, and then the object is self-identity, and the retriever is Juno itself, and then the opponent is fighter, and the subject is Juno, and the helper is none. Okay, next, I want to tell you about the the meaning of the film, or it can be called a deep structure. So from narrative theory by A.J. Greimas, called Actantial Sim in Film Memories of My Body, this would not be separated from a man and identity. If we look at the whole story of the film, associated with these characterizations and scenes, it can be concluded that the deep structure of this film is a man looking for his true identity because he has sexual disorder where he is a man, but from his speech, style of dress, and even his body movements like a woman or feminine. This can be proven is in one of the main scenes in this film when Juno's injured chest is sucked by this boxer. This scene greatly emphasizes frontal body expressions related to gender values. Other evidence that can support that Juno has a sexual disorder, or in this case he is gay, is when Juno acts as a woman while wearing a wedding dress. When there was not the slightest expression of rejection of or awkwardness in his body touched by boxer. What's more, when the wound on his chest was sucked, and because pricked by a needle, Juno in this scene doesn't even show any behavior, expression, rejection that, according to public belief, should occur. He just accepted the treatment and even gave up because he felt as an individual who lost his dominance of the figure of the boxer. He placed herself as a feminine person, cared for and protected when injured by the boxer's masculine figure. So, and then the next one is the closing statement or the conclusion of this film. So the narrative analysis put forward by A.J. Greimas resulted in the Memories of My Body actually tells about a man who wants to find his true identity because since he was a child, he was abandoned by his parents, so he got sexual disorders from childhood to adolescence. In this film, the main character named Juno is described as a man who acts like a woman by using traits and describe the feminine side of a woman. Beside that, his gay side is shown in this film when one of the boxers sucks the blood on Juno's neck, and Juno doesn't mind, in other words, actually enjoys what the boxer is doing. Finally, this film raises pros and cons for some films critics and the Indonesian public that this film is not appropriate to be shown in theaters because it contains elements that violate social values and norms that exist in Indonesia, which are based on the five precepts of the Pancasila. However, for some people, this film is worth watching because this film contains education regarding films with LGBTQ genre and how to respond to all of this when all of society feels this film is not suitable for screening. So that is my explanation about my analysis or my explanation about this film. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.